Hi everyone, welcome back to Dining with Danny, where we cook up some food for thought. I'm Danny, and today we will learn how to make some dinner and dessert. We will make spaghetti for dinner and chocolate cake for dessert. As usual, we'll learn to use phrases and expressions related to the food that we make. After we wash our hands with soap and water, we can get started. So dinner comes before dessert. So let's get our ingredients for our spaghetti. We will need our pasta, some salt, some olive oil, some pasta sauce, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, spaghetti is a type of pasta. Now, pasta is very much like noodles, except it's made differently and often in many different shapes. We don't really have time to talk about all the differences between pasta and noodles, but one key difference is this. Pasta is made from wheat flour, and it's firmer and holds its shape better. On the other hand, noodles can be made from many kinds of flour, and they are usually much softer. It might be a little bit confusing since people will often use both pasta and noodles when we're talking about pasta, but the more kinds of noodles and pasta you eat, the sooner you'll understand the difference. So you can see here that I'm holding spaghetti noodles, and each noodle is long and thin. Now, if this pasta were shaped any differently, it wouldn't be spaghetti anymore. It would be one of the many other types of pasta. So for example, lasagna noodles, they are flat and wide. Farfalle is shaped like a bow or a butterfly, and cavatappi is a twisting tube. Luckily, even though there are hundreds of types of pasta, spaghetti is pretty easy to find.
Let's cook. First, we will boil some water. Add salt to the water to help the pasta be more flavorful. Once the water boils, add your pasta. One serving or one portion of spaghetti is around 60 grams, but you don't have to measure so exactly. About one handful is enough for one person. Keep in mind, pasta expands as it cooks, so you can probably cook less than you think you'll need. Boil your pasta for about 8 minutes, stirring it often so that it doesn't stick to itself or the pot. The pasta will be done when it is al dente, not hard, but a little chewy. Use a colander to drain your spaghetti. Then, toss your spaghetti in some olive oil. You can skip the oil if you're serving your spaghetti immediately, but if you wait to eat, the oil will keep the pasta from sticking to itself. Now we will prepare the sauce. Today, I want to add some onions and mushrooms to my sauce, but this part is optional. You don't have to do it. I'm not adding any meat today, but you could also add meatballs, ground meat, or sausage pieces to your sauce. Use medium heat and wait for your sauce to become hot.
So you can see here that I have a tomato and basil sauce today, which means that this pasta sauce, they've already added some extra tomato bits and extra basil. So that's what this is. Now you could also choose to use traditional sauce, which isn't going to have extra vegetables or meat or anything with it. But you could also choose mushroom sauce, meat sauce, cheese sauce. There are so many different sauces to choose from. But the important thing is that you use a red tomato-based pasta sauce.
Now, combine your sauce with your pasta, making sure that every part of the pasta is coated in sauce. Some people like more sauce, others like less, so it's up to you exactly how much sauce you put with your spaghetti. Now, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top, and your spaghetti is ready to enjoy.
right, so now that we've made our spaghetti, I have another phrase for you. Use your noodle. That's a phrase you might hear when someone is telling you to use your brain. So use your noodle, use your brain. And also, if you hear that someone is noodling around, it just means that they're thinking about something. So another phrase related to thinking would be the phrase, chew on that. You know how it takes a little time to put it in your mouth and chew and swallow your food, right? If you chew on a thought or an idea, it just means you took some time to think about it. And as I look at all of this spaghetti on my plate, I'm reminded of having a lot on my plate, which means I just have a lot of things to do, or like a lot of things in my schedule, or many, many responsibilities. And if I'm really busy and someone asks me to do one more thing, I might say, sorry, but my plate is full, to mean that my calendar or my agenda already has too many things on it. Now, if I've said yes to too many things, you could say, I bit off more than I could chew, meaning that I don't have the ability to finish what I've started. But we absolutely will finish this video, so let's get back to the kitchen. Our final recipes will be for 2 types of cake, both of which you can make in the microwave, so you don't even need to use an oven. The only tricky thing about these recipes is that the measurements American recipes use are based on the English system instead of the metric system that the rest of the world uses. So here are the measuring words we'll need today. We'll have a cup, a tablespoon, and a teaspoon. But I'll be sure to include the milliliters and the grams as we cook today.
Our first cake will be an Oreo cake, which will use chocolate chips, milk, flour, baking powder, vegetable oil, and Oreos. If you don't have chocolate chips, chop up a chocolate bar. Microwave a 1/4 cup, or 45 grams, of chocolate and 3 tablespoons, or 44 milliliters, of milk until it is melted, and mix until it is smooth. Then add 4 tablespoons, or 31 grams, of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon, or 1 gram, of baking powder, and 1/2 a tablespoon, or 7 grams, of vegetable oil, and mix until it is smooth. This is your batter. Next, smash 2 Oreos into small pieces and mix them into your batter. Last, microwave it in a mug for about 1 minute and let it cool a few minutes before you eat it. It will taste the best if you eat it while it is still warm. Our second cake is also very easy to make. It is a peanut butter and chocolate cake. We will need a little butter or oil, 1 very ripe banana, 2 tablespoons, or 28 grams, of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons, or 28 grams, of cocoa powder, and 2 to 3 tablespoons, or 28 to 42 grams, of chocolate chips. First, grease your mug with oil or butter to keep the cake from sticking to it. Then, mix the banana, peanut butter, and cocoa powder until it is smooth. When it is smooth, stir in the chocolate chips, but save just a few of them. Next, microwave it for around 1 minute. You will know it is done when you can stick a toothpick in it and the toothpick comes out just clean.
If you want, you can add icing on your cakes, which would be nice, but unnecessary. By the way, the icing on the cake is an expression describing anything that is attractive or nice to have, but not essential. Here are some other expressions involving cake. If a job is a piece of cake, it's really easy. If something takes the cake, it's either the most amazing or the most ridiculous of its kind. Finally, if you are making a difficult decision, you might hear the phrase, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." Of course, if you eat your cake, you won't have it anymore. So in other words, you can't have more than is reasonable. Okay, so this cake was the one with the banana in it. So I'm gonna dig in. So I'm gonna take a nice good bite. I made a mess, but this is good. So you can taste the banana, but it's not too strong, and the chocolate flavor really comes through. So it's got a nice fudgy texture, so it's a little bit dense, but it's really good. You don't really taste as much of the peanut butter, but it's there. It's a little bit more subtle. It's milder. This is pretty good. All right, let's try the Oreo cake. So the Oreo cake, it looks a little bit more like a cake, but let's see what it tastes like. Okay, so the Oreo cake, it's not as sweet as the other cake, but it's a little bit denser, and the Oreos really give it a nice touch. I would suggest when you microwave this, don't microwave it for too long, because otherwise it might get a little bit dry. But this is excellent, and I would suggest you pair it with a glass of milk. Well, friends, that's all I have for us. I hope I've given you a lot to think about, some food for thought, and that your food has been delicious. I'm Danny from Zule High School, and thank you so much for watching Dining with Danny.